Listen, I hope y'all WNBA players is paying attention. They will replace y'all asses. They have Caitlin Clark. They have Paige Becker's under contract. They have Angel Reese. They have replacement players they can go get. They have a slew of rookies they are about to draft.
Folks, buckle up, because we are watching justice unfold on a scale rarely seen in the history of athletics, and it is playing out live on national television. We have spent the last 2 years watching the established veterans, the self-proclaimed guardians of the sport, run a calculated operation of pettiness, envy, and sabotage against Caitlin Clark. They tried to rough her up physically during the games. They tried to shatter her confidence in the press. They conspired to ice her out of the Olympic squad, convinced that if they made her existence miserable enough, they could extinguish her star power and maintain their iron grip on the league. But today, the invoice has arrived, and the cost is total bankruptcy. We have received confirmation that the heavy hitters, the WNBA ownership groups, NBC, Universal, and Peacock, have made a strategic pivot to completely bypass the old guard and go all in on the Caitlin Clark economy. The reports are accurate. They have lost everything. And this wasn't bad luck. They lost because their toxic antics made them unmarketable, unwatchable, and in the end, entirely replaceable. While the veterans are sitting at home, trapped in a nasty labor standoff that could wipe out their season, Caitlin Clark is dining at the head table of NBC's NBA coverage, laughing with icons, signing monster contracts, and cementing herself as the face of American basketball. The scheme to ruin her didn't just fail. It backfired with such intensity that it has obliterated the relevance of the very people who plotted her downfall. The league, NBC, and Peacock are moving full steam ahead with their promotional machine, regardless of whether the players sign the deal or not. Because I am certain they have a plan B locked and loaded. They have a safety net. You need to grasp the sheer magnitude of this transition. NBC and Peacock just finalized a titanic media rights agreement with both the NBA and the WNBA. Typically, with a deal of this size, the network would spend months hyping the league's heritage, interviewing the senior players, and polishing the legends' reputations. But look at the reality. NBC is not dialing Diana Taurasi. They are not ringing up Breanna Stewart. They are not reaching out to the athletes who spent the last 12 months throwing shade on podcasts. They are contacting exactly one individual, Caitlin Clark. They have hired her as a premier analyst for their professional basketball coverage. This is a loud, deliberate statement. The executives looked at the analytics. They studied the social media traction. And most critically, they analyzed the bullying. They saw the cheap shots. They saw the resentment. And they concluded that they have zero interest in the business of broadcasting toxic jealousy. They want to be in the business of joy, scoring buckets, and high ratings. Caitlin Clark represents tomorrow a positive, highly skilled, crowd-pleasing product. The veterans represent yesterday a bitter, exclusionary club that seems to despise its own fan base. NBC made a corporate call to cut the dead weight, and that dead weight happens to be the entire old guard of the league. See Sports. What they did was essentially flex on them. Listen, they absolutely muscled them out. The promo reads, "If you know, you know." The WNBA is coming to NBC and Peacock. So, let us dig deeper into the reasons behind this. Right now, the owners are locked in a stalemate with the Players Association. The athletes are threatening a walkout. They are demanding a 30% revenue share. They are demanding salary hikes in the millions. And who is leading this charge? The veterans. The very same group that refused to embrace the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. The owners are looking at these demands and chuckling. Why? Because they know the truth. They know that without Caitlin Clark, there is no revenue to split. They know nobody is subscribing to Peacock to watch the players who pushed her around. They are subscribing to watch Caitlin. Consequently, the owners and the networks have forged an alliance. They have realized that they do not need the league as a collective entity to turn a profit. They just need the Caitlin Clark show. By handing her this platform on NBC, independent of the league season, they have insulated their biggest asset from the toxicity of the locker room. If the veterans choose to strike, let them strike. Caitlin will still be on your screen every Sunday night breaking down LeBron James's game. She wins either way. The veterans played chicken with the golden goose, and now they are starving. It is an absolute disaster for them. It looks like the swoosh is completely fumbling the bag. As Adweek reports, Nike has officially bowed out of the commercial lineup for Super Bowl 60. That means zero screen time for a Caitlin Clark signature moment during the big game. And honestly, the logic here is absolutely baffling. You have her signature kicks ready to launch, yet you stay silent? Meanwhile, the streaming giants are out here playing for keeps. These platforms have a one-track mind, signing up new users and keeping them hooked. So you have to ask, who actually pushes the needle? Is it the athlete griping about travel arrangements and bashing the newcomers? Not a chance. It is the sharpshooter sinking baskets from the logo while keeping her head down. Peacock has basically abandoned the strategy of promoting the WNBA as a collective unit. Just look at the promotional rollout. The spotlight is 100% on number 22. Everyone else has been downgraded to uncredited extras in her blockbuster film. This reality is the inevitable fallout from their own toxic gameplay. You spent 12 months convincing the public she was overhyped and needed to wait in line, basically screaming at viewers to tune out. Well, surprise, surprise, the masses actually took your advice. Now they have zero interest in the old guard. Their attention is fixed solely on the rookie that the establishment tried to push around. The vets tried to bolt the doors shut, but they only managed to trap themselves in an inferno while Clark strolled out the main entrance with the master keys. Just consider the absolute mental devastation this wreaks on the established hierarchy. Picture grinding for a decade, stacking rings, only to watch NBC jet this rookie out to Madison Square Garden for the VIP treatment. She is courtside with legends like Vince Carter and Carmelo Anthony, while you are stuck at home stressing over whether your direct deposit will hit. That level of disrespect has to burn, but let's be real, it is a self-inflicted injury. Had they rolled out the red carpet and taken her under their wing, realizing a massive wave lifts every ship, they would be right there beside her. Those brand partnerships and primetime features would have been theirs too, but their pride stood in the way. Blinded by green-eyed envy, they picked small-time feuds over life-changing riches. Now the network train has left the station without them, recognizing that Clark is far larger than the league itself. She eclipses the organization and overshadows the veterans, standing as a cultural force that needs no stamp of approval. The hostility wasn't limited to hard fouls. It was baked into the system, from officials ignoring calls to the very top. You had head coaches throwing shade in interviews and Hall of Famers hitting the podcast circuit just to downplay her stats. NBC saw every second of it, and you better believe the big corporate sponsors were taking notes. Here is the thing about big business. They despise liability, and the old guard became a massive risk factor. They made themselves toxic to the bottom line, transforming professional basketball into a reality TV show fueled by bitterness. While the league should have been celebrating, Clark took the high road, never uttering a single negative syllable. She clocked in, handled her business, and honored the sport. NBC is simply paying dividends on that professional attitude. It sends a clear message that demeanor counts, vindicating the millions of supporters who stood by her for the last 2 years. Leaving the veterans behind is a seal of approval for Clark and a stern rejection of the behavior we saw from the rest of the league. So where does that leave us? This pivot by the broadcasters marks the definitive conclusion of a chapter. The days of the veteran gatekeeper are officially dead and buried. Any player wanting a slice of stardom now has to align with the new agenda. Ownership is finished babying the detractors. By supercharging Clark's platform, they are effectively dismantling the Players Association's leverage. The union can bluff a walkout all they want, but when the face of the franchise is practically on the network payroll, they have no cards left to play. The powers that be discovered a route around the radioactive toxicity. They established a direct line from the superstar to the consumer, cutting out the resentful middlemen. The old guard is just yelling at a wall now. Let them picket or rant on their timelines. Nothing is going to halt this engine. The industry selected its pilot, and it is the rookie from Iowa. This will be a case study in humility for generations to come. The league veterans held a winning Powerball ticket right in their palms. Their only job was to cash it in and say, "Welcome aboard." Rather than secure the bag, they shredded it and tossed the confetti in her face. Now they have to watch her mint currency while they scramble for loose change. It is a disaster they scripted themselves. They were defeated in the press, crushed in the court of public opinion, and now obliterated financially. The networks have cast their vote. Management agrees, and the viewers agree. The league is no longer a democracy, it is the absolute monarchy of Clark. As for the blockers who used dirty tricks to slow her down, their only remaining option is to quietly vanish into the background. The mob came to bury the phenom, but the trap they set snapped back and shattered their own reputations instead. This cultural shift is broadcasting live on national TV, and the bitter old guard isn't even getting a pass to the premiere.